picture this. A mansion in Howth sitting right above the Irish Sea, where the view alone probably costs more than most people's entire lives. The kind of house that says we've made it. Inside, it's quiet. Just another Monday morning in December 2008. Coffee brewing, wind tapping the glass, the sound of the sea outside. And then chaos. Neighbors hear shouting. A house alarm goes off. Somewhere between the marble floors and the designer kitchen, something goes horribly wrong. Celine Cawley, a model, an actress, and once a Bond girl extra, is lying on the back patio. She's not breathing. Beside her, a brick covered in blood. Her husband, Eamonn Lillis, is panicking. He calls the guards, says there was an intruder. Some stranger attacked his wife and ran. He says he tried to fight him off. He says he came home just in time. But here's the thing in Ireland, when someone says there was an intruder, the guards show up and they always check if that story holds up. And this one, it's about to fall apart faster than the morning calm in that luxury mansion. Let's start with the woman at the center of all this, Celine Cawley. She was around 46, born and raised in Howth, County Dublin. People remember her as confident, driven, and honestly kind of intimidating in the best way. She wasn't just another pretty face. She built things, literally. She co-founded a production company called Toy Town Films, made TV ads, hired big names, and became one herself. Oh, and that Bond movie cameo, A View to a Kill. Quick scene, blink, and you miss her, but still that's a lifetime brag. Then there's Eamonn Lillis, her husband. They married back in 1991 when shoulder pads were still a thing. Eamonn was quiet, polished, always looked like the kind of man who'd apologize for existing in his own kitchen. He ran the business with her, so they were not just partners in marriage, but in money too. And together they had a daughter, Georgia, born in 1992. By all accounts, she was their pride. Family photos looked perfect, Celine glowing, Eamonn smiling, Georgia in the middle. You'd never think that behind those smiles, things were starting to rot. Because on paper, this family had it all, the house with a sea view, the company, the reputation. But as you'll see, that same perfection that made them look untouchable was the very thing that trapped them. Celine Cawley wasn't just wealthy, she was built from scratch wealthy. She didn't marry into money, she manufactured it. In her 20s, she modeled, acted, and networked her way into the Irish media scene. She knew how to turn charm into business. By the time she hit her 40s, she wasn't chasing roles anymore, she was hiring the people who used to get them. She and Eamonn co-founded Toy Town Films, a slick ad production company in Dublin that made commercials for huge Irish brands. It was the kind of business where everyone wore black turtlenecks and said things like, "We're capturing the essence of butter." And it worked. They were loaded. They bought a massive home on Windgate Road in Howth, a place with glass walls, sea views, and a driveway that could fit a small village. Celine drove a Mercedes dressed like a CEO and had that energy that said, "I'm late because I'm important." She was confident, clever, and people noticed her wherever she went. The kind of woman who made success look easy, but behind that confidence there was control. Every detail in her life had to be perfect. The business, the image, the house, even her marriage. And when life started getting messy behind closed doors, she wasn't the type to let anyone see the cracks. Now, on paper, Celine and Eamonn were the power couple every Irish magazine secretly wanted to interview. Married in 1991, running a successful company, raising their daughter Georgia, and living in a seaside mansion. It was the full checklist: money, career, respectability, and matching business cards. But when you peek past that glossy surface, things weren't picture perfect. Friends would later say Celine had a strong personality, she liked things her way. Eamonn, on the other hand, was more reserved, quiet, and very aware that he lived in her spotlight. He'd built a career alongside her, sure, but everyone knew whose name came first on the door. Over time, their picture-perfect life started to look more like a long, awkward photo shoot where nobody's smiling anymore. They slept in separate rooms. The connection faded. The sparkle dulled. And while Celine kept pushing the company forward, Eamonn found comfort elsewhere in the form of a massage therapist. Yep, the man who shared a mansion with a Bond girl turned business queen started secretly texting someone else. Romance by text, the 21st century version of lighting a match next to a gas tank. It was messy, it was risky, and it was the beginning of something that would blow up everything they'd built together. It's a freezing Monday morning in Howth, the kind of winter morning where your breath turns into fog before you even open the door. Inside the Cawley Lillis mansion, things start normal, or at least they seem that way. Eamonn says he drops their daughter Georgia to school, comes back home, and finds something that doesn't make sense. He claims he walks into the house and hears chaos. He says there's an intruder, some random man who attacked Celine on the patio. He says he tried to fight the guy off, that he was too late. He calls the guards and tells them his wife's been attacked by a stranger. When the officers arrive, they find Celine lying outside on the back patio. She's not moving. Her body is next to a brick. There's blood everywhere. Eamonn's got scratches on his face and his story ready to go. At first glance, it could sound like a robbery gone wrong, but the thing is, this is Howth. A quiet, wealthy, safe house. Not exactly the kind of place where masked burglars go breaking into mansions before breakfast. And the more the guards look around, the more the whole intruder story starts to crumble. Because when something doesn't add up, it usually means someone's trying to make sure it doesn't. So the guards start digging, and right away they notice something's off. No broken windows, no forced doors, no missing valuables. This intruder must have been the politest criminal in Irish history, because he apparently took nothing, left everything, and vanished into thin air. They look at Eamonn again. His story sounds shaky. He says he fought the guy, that the man escaped through the garden. But the scratches on his face, let's just say they look more like the kind you'd get from someone standing way too close during a heated argument. Then comes the real kicker. Up in the attic, tucked under toys and old books, the guards find a bag. Inside, clothes covered in blood, jeans, jumper, the works. They belong to Eamonn. He admits it, says he panicked, says he changed clothes before the guards arrived because he didn't want to upset anyone. Yeah, nothing screams innocence like hiding your bloody outfit in the attic. And as if that's not messy enough, word gets out that Eamonn was having an affair with a massage therapist he met through work. Text messages, secret meetings, the whole cliché. Suddenly, the picture of the devoted husband starts looking a lot like a man living a double life. Every layer of his story falls apart faster than a cheap umbrella in a Dublin storm. There was no intruder, no mystery man. Just a husband, a marriage falling apart, and a cover story that couldn't survive 5 minutes of real police work. Fast forward to January 2010. The headlines are everywhere. The Bond girl murder case, the mansion in Howth. The husband who swore it was an intruder. Ireland's watching like it's the country's most awkward reality show. Eamonn Lillis is in court charged with murder. He looks polished, calm, like a man trying to convince the world he's still respectable. The prosecution lays it out. The hidden clothes, the fake story, the affair, and the obvious motive the marriage had hit the rocks. The defense, they paint a different picture. They say it was a fight that went too far. An argument, a shove, an accident. They try to make it sound tragic, but not evil, like he lost control for a second, not like he planned anything. After a long and emotional trial, the jury decides they believe part of that. They find him guilty, but not of murder, of manslaughter. That means the court accepted it wasn't pre-planned, but still someone died because of him. The judge sentences him to 6 years and 11 months. He serves just over 5. By the time he walks out of prison, he's back to fresh air, while Celine's family is still dealing with the kind of loss that doesn't end when a sentence does. It's one of those moments that makes people shake their heads and say, "That's it for taking a life?" And that's where the outrage starts to boil, because justice in Ireland sometimes feels more like a negotiation than a punishment. When the verdict dropped, Ireland couldn't look away. You had this perfect looking couple, the Bond girl wife, the quiet husband, the mansion by the sea, and underneath it all, a full blown domestic disaster. Every paper ran it front page. It was gossip, tragedy, and high society all rolled into one. But the story didn't end in court. Once Eamonn was behind bars, another fight started, this time about money. The house, the company, the assets, all worth millions. And here's the twist: under Irish law at that time, a person convicted of killing their spouse could still technically claim part of the shared estate. Yeah, let that sink in. Celine's family, especially her brother and sister, were horrified. They didn't just lose their sister. Now they had to watch her killer fight for her property. It turned into a messy legal battle that dragged on for years. The kind of fight that makes you wonder how justice can be so technical and so heartless at the same time. And while all this was going on, Eamonn was out of prison, keeping quiet, blending into the background. No TV interviews, no big statements, just a man who walked free while the people who loved Celine kept living the sentence he gave them. The whole thing became a symbol of what happens when image and money clash with morality. Everyone remembered the headline, "The Bond Girl Murdered." But behind it, there was a deeper story about a family that never stopped paying for someone else's lies. So what does this story really say? It's not just another rich couple gone wrong headline. It's about the gap between how perfect something looks and how rotten it can actually be inside. Celine Cawley spent her life building an image: strong, successful, unstoppable. She was the face of her own empire, the woman who did it all. But when the truth came out, her success didn't protect her. The walls of that luxury house didn't keep her safe. And the man who was supposed to love her became the one who destroyed everything she built. The saddest part? After everything, the trial, the media circus, the money fight, Eamonn Lillis walked free. He went back to a quiet life. While Celine's name only comes up now as a cautionary headline or a trivia note about a Bond movie. And maybe that's the cruelest twist of all. Because the house still stands, the sea still crashes against the cliffs, the view is still perfect. But perfection means nothing when the story behind it is a lie. So next time someone says they've got it all, just remember sometimes the mansion on the hill is built right over the crime scene.